Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are gonna talk about another Korean drama, a K-drama, which is called Good Boy. And this drama was released last year around these times of the year. And when I made a video about Korean variety shows that I liked recently in 2026, I have talked about the variety show that I liked the most this year because it was so different and so out of ordinary that the format was never seen before. It was named The Village Barber. And there, of course, we're gonna see the main characters making a variety show together, and the female lead is gonna come there as a guest of the show in one of the episodes, and they're gonna operate a barbershop together. The main premise of the variety show is Parkbogum himself. When he was in military, he learned how to be a barber, cut people's hairs in the military, so he got a certification about that. And when he came back from the military, he could make this in real life. Out of the military life, he can do barber shop. He can do anything he wants because he has a certificate. He can cut people's hairs. So the producers were, I think they were thinking, who wouldn't want their hair cut by Park Bogum himself. So they were like, we're gonna find a town who has who doesn't really have any barbershop in the area, and they have to commute for an hour or so to get to a hair shop itself. So we're gonna find one of these towns and we're gonna make a barbershop there, and we're gonna put Pak Bogum as the barber in that shop, and he's gonna be able to cut these villagers' hair, dye their hair, and of course blow out their hair as well. So the main premise of the show is this, but the second role that we see in this variety show is, of course, our drama's Good Boys, drama's second lead, and his name is Lee Sang-i. And Lee Sang-i was there as a nail technician, I think. He was painting nails of the villagers, of course, because they were reluctant to pay for their nails at the village because they were not used to having them done. He made them as like a free service. If you were cutting your hair, you're gonna get a special treatment by Isangi to paint your nails with gel or nail polish, whatever your choice is. So he would go to a course and he learned everything about being a nail artist. He is a nail artist and he has a certificate as well. So they both were in this variety show together, and in one of the episodes, the female lead, of course, made an appearance, and I was curious about how that drama came about because I never watched that drama. It was so popular at the time. Last year, it was so popular. I was keep seeing edits of it on my algorithm all the time, but I was like, no, we're gonna wait. I think I'm gonna make a video about this one. I'm gonna wait for a year. I didn't think I will wait for a year, of course, but things just turned out that way. So now today we're gonna be talking about the K-drama Good Boy. But what are we gonna talk about? The main topics. What are we gonna mainly focus on? We are gonna mainly focus on, this is of course a K-drama, but this is not a rom-com. Of course there is comedy involved, but these are police officers, these are cops. So we are gonna focus on their own story time, because they have made a special team in this police station, and they all have their special stories, and I would like to focus on that. The plot is a bit complex. That's the main reason I first didn't want to make a video about this. The main plot is too complex. There is a bit of a plot twist in the drama itself, but if we focus on the characters, the main characters themselves, because their stories are really interesting as well. If we just focus on that ones, I think it's gonna be entertaining. And after hearing these stories, you can make a decision about if you're gonna watch it if you haven't already. And if you have watched it already, you're gonna reminisce about the drama that you watched, but you probably don't remember anything about it because it's been a year. So we're just gonna talk about these things today. But before I start, just to make a preface of these story times, they all come from a background and they are all similar because they were all, everyone was a national athlete at some point in their lives, and their career started of them being like the peak points in their life. They were winning medals, everything, but after some incidents about controversies, scandals, the corruption that is taking place, the doping rumor is going on, and after all these, they were retired. And after they were retired, there's a special system. I've only heard about this in Korea, South Korea, but I don't know if another countries have this special thing as well. If you are a former athlete and you have won medals, you have a choice of training and becoming a cop in real life. Even though you haven't trained for that in the beginning of the career, you can turn it around and be a police officer as a turning point in your life. So these are all national athletes who had their peak, but of course had some incidents and now they are retired and become a police officer. So they all have story times. That's why I wanted to talk about and focus on this setting as well, because it is special. Everybody has a special story and every single one of them deserves to be heard, right? So we are gonna start with our male lead himself. And the male lead's name is Yoon Dong-ju and he is played by parkbogum himself. And this man is a really passionate person in their life. He's always striving to be better and he's always trying to survive in life. He was a former boxer, he was boxing, and of course, some things happened, like I've said. All of these former national athletes had something happen to them, and this character had a coach who were corrupt, I think. So, because they couldn't be on the same parallel as the athlete and the coach, they were on like different understandings of things, so they didn't agree much to anything. The coach wanted Yoon Dong-ju to make more advertisements in real life so they could gain more money, but Yoon Dong-ju was like, no, I'm not gonna make any of that and I want to just focus on my career, and after that I'm gonna be retired soon anyways because I'm a boxer and it is a really hard job to maintain your health. You're not gonna be doing this job for long. He just says that I'm gonna focus on my sport, I'm gonna focus on my boxing ring, and I don't want to do anything else at this point of my life. I'm not gonna do anything. And coach really is like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that, and Yoon Dong-ju was not feeling it and didn't listen to his coach at all about these kind of things and went on to the boxing ring, and of course he won that boxing match. After he came out, it was a really special moment for him because he won a gold medal. It is a really important thing. As a national athlete, your proudest moment is the moment that you win a gold medal and you are making a speech. And in his speech, he is thanking everyone around his life being supportive towards him and his career. So he's thanking everyone, but in the corner of his side, he sees his coach talking with someone, and the coach is grinning from ear to ear, talking, and looks sinisterly at our Yoon Dong-ju character. And after like 5 or 10 seconds, the coach turns around and goes away. And immediately when he does that, I think he talked with a news reporter or something because news were out. He is in a doping rumor. He is said to have doping in his system, not I don't know how to explain this. I don't know the right words to explain this, but he was accused of being doped throughout the match. And of course, what are you gonna do about it? Because you weren't doped at all, you're gonna sue that person who made that news. But after the news of the truth came out that he wasn't doped at all, he didn't do anything illegal at all during the match, he won that gold medal by his own hardships and works and the things that he did. Nobody really cared about the situation anymore because it is meaningless now. His reputation was ruined and nobody's caring about the truth now, even though he won the legal thing to make him appear truthful. But nobody cared about it, and then he decided to have a special training to become a police officer, a cop. So he became a cop and he is now in a special team. And our another character is our female lead. I think I can call this a female lead. This is not a romantic drama, so I am unsure about calling them male lead, female lead. But if I were to pick a female lead and male lead for that, parkbogum is the male lead and kimsohyun is the female lead in this drama because they have a romantic relationship. Yoon Dong-ju, parkbogum's character, likes Jihanna, who is played by Kim So-hyun, and they have a little bit of a romantic story in this drama, but this is not the main point. This is an extreme, like, they're always moving, always on the move, they're police officers, they're always working on a case, so they're more focused on that part of the drama. They are not really focusing on the romantic side of the drama. So we can't say there's a lot of romantic scenes in this drama. Of course, there's kiss scenes. There's scenes that you think that warms your heart, but it is not the main point of this drama. I think it was made really well because it shouldn't be the main point of the drama. But I enjoyed seeing the romantic side of this drama. The second character is, as I said, is Jihanna, who is played by Kim So-hyun herself. And this character is interesting because she's an elite world champion rifle shooter. She was so famous that she was on the snacks in convenience stores. When you buy a piece of bread, you would see her face on them because she was doing advertisements and she was sponsored by them. And she was really a kind of a celebrity in life because she had commercials done as well in TV. You could see them on TV. There is things that going on, and these are sponsors of this national athlete Jihanna. And of course, there's gonna some things happen at her career as well, but the main point in this national athlete's career in life who is like a pain in the ass is her family relationship is not good. Her father passed away and she had a really close relationship with her father, and after he passed away, she was really, and her father was a police officer as well. He was a police as well. He was a cop. That's why we are gonna see her turning into a cop now after like seeing her father do the job, and she thinks like, my father died, he was a cop, I want to be a cop now, and I want to find out how he died in this life. I don't know anything about it because he was a cop, he was on a case. We don't know really anything about his case. It is being hush hush in the station. So she had a good relationship with her father, but her mother is what I would call a naggy person. What I mean by that is she was always nagging her about something in her life. She was always telling her to do more commercials about things, get her more sponsors, and she was only focused on that part of her career. But Jihanna is like, I'm a shooter, I'm gonna shoot. I have a thing to do. I have to train for it. I have to focus on my job. And after I focus on my job and be really good at it, being a national athlete, then we can do these things. But don't make me forcefully do these things. Jihanna is respecting her mother and her wishes. Of course, she's a good daughter as well. She does everything, but she always, the mother is always talking in a in a high point of voice, and when you keep talking in that kind of noise, it becomes really annoying. And I think Jihanna has developed a mental condition because she was really annoyed and couldn't endure more of this nagging, more of this talking, and always her mother is always being angry about her with something, always telling her do something, and she's done with it all. And when she's on a match, she loses focus, and her last shot ends up being nowhere near the aim. So after that, her career is on. Her career is gonna be at a low point in her life because nobody expected her to do anything like this. But it is obvious that she's mentally struggling, and after that match, she's kind of losing some kind of sponsors as well because she's not as successful before. She has warned her mother about this before to not do that, but she didn't listen. She always nagged, she always talked and talked and talked, and she was done. When she came back to the room that she was preparing herself mentally and physically in, she had a private room, and her mother was nagging her there. They had I think, a shampoo, a hair related sponsorship going on. I don't know what exactly it is. Is it a hair cream, hairspray, shampoo? I don't know. But she was heavily advertised in everywhere, in TVs, in phones, everywhere, about her long, luscious hair. And she was the face of this product. And after she came back to the private room that she was getting ready, she went in front of the mirror, looked at herself, looked at her hair, gathered all her hair in a fist, and then got a scissor and cut all of it off. Her hair was short now, and that sponsorship was done because the only thing that they were happy about her was her long, luscious hair. Now that sponsorship is done, her mother, when she came back didn't even pay attention to her at all because she was on the phone with another sponsorship, trying to get her on another one. But the news, I think, didn't reach her completely. So when she came back and saw her mother with short hair and crying, the only thing she said was, "Why did you cut your hair?" She didn't ask any question about, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Why did you cut your hair?" I think this is the main point of their relationship. This explains the whole situation, I think. And the next character is Kim Jong-hyun, and it is played by Lee Sang-hee. And this character is what I would call a second lead because this man is was formerly in a relationship with Jihanna, and they broke up. They're exes now. This is their kind of relationship. They're not really on good terms. This man keeps on loving her, keeps on liking her, like pursuing her really romantically. But our main lead, Yoon Dong-ju, is pursuing her as well because he's in love with her. And our female lead, Jihanna, is in the middle of everything. There's a love triangle. There's a romantic side of the K-drama, like I said. I enjoyed watching it, and it was really comedic as well. Everything was fun, even though it was an action-based drama, I think. There was a lot of action going on. This man was a silver medalist fencer. He did the sport fencing, and at the last match that he had with his, like, the other side, I think it was France or Italy. I don't remember the country, but it is a Olympic match, I think, because it was a really important match. But the day before this match, something had happened, an incident, and I think, what was his injury? He had an injury on his foot, right foot? On his right foot, I think, if I remember correctly. He had an injury and wasn't feeling well in the match. And because of this, when he was taking action, he stumbled and fell down. And after he got up, he felt a sharp pain in his foot. And he was like, "I did something with my foot yesterday. I think I hurt it." And the coaches of him are like, "Yesterday you were fine. Nothing had happened. Why are you being like this now? Are you under a lot of stress or something?" But he is not lying because he really, I think it was a serious injury because his foot was not able to listen to his mind at all because it was a completely different part now. It was injured, it had a sharp pain, he wasn't able to focus on the match, and as a final moment of this match, when he were stumbling and when he was about to fall, the other side, the other fencer that he was going against, had striked with his, I don't know what it's called, I don't know the right word, but his equipment, I'm gonna say, it pierced through his mask and it went in almost in his eye. And it was a really dangerous situation, and he was a silver medalist in that Olympic match. I think it was an Olympic match because it was against another country. That's why I think it's an Olympic thing. And his career was, I think, he was done because his injury was serious as well, and he was like done. He's like, "No, I'm not gonna do this anymore," and he retired and started training to become a real police officer and or a cop. So he was a cop. His career started there and it had a turning point, and he now is a cop. The fourth character we're gonna talk about is the sweetest giant that I've seen in my real life. Shin Jae-hong is played by Tae Won-sok, and his role was a bronze medalist in the disc throw. I don't know the exact name. Discus throw. He was a bronze medalist. He was really successful. He's a giant. Height, weight. He looks like a really strong man, and he is a strong man, I think. He is really muscular, but inside his heart, he is a really sweet person. He has a family, he has children, and he loves and cherishes his family so much, and it is the main part of his life. The main thing in his life is his family. And he decided to become a police officer because after he retired, he didn't have a job, and he was like, should I train and become a cop? It was my thing. Anyways, I always wanted to be a cop. Should I become a cop? And he did the training and became a cop in a police station. And then, of course, he's having some difficulties because these are national athletes. These are not people that were originally police officers. They had a different career path around the other people they're around. So they're being looked down upon because the other police officers don't think they can do their job properly, which is not true. I think it all ends up in the brain and the heart. How you think about things, how you feel about things is more important. And they had a training. It is not like, hi, you there, national athlete, you're retired. Do you want to come and work at our place? It's not like that, of course. They have a special training to become a cop themselves, and after that, they become a cop. They had a training done. But the others don't think it is enough, I think. That's why they are having a strong reaction. The other character, our fifth character, is Captain Komanchik, and it is played by Ho Sung-tae. This man was in last video we talked about the Phantom Lawyer episode we talked about. He was the first ghost that was seen through the lawyer's eyes. I was shocked when I saw him there. I didn't think he suited another role because he suited this role so much. He really was a captain. He really was so good at being a leader of a special team in the police station who were all formerly national athletes. He did this role so well. He was so funny. But I was wrong because at that drama, he was a good actor as well. He did this role so well as well. I think he kind of suits every role he plays because he immerses himself in this role, in every kind of role. And yeah, I didn't imagine him playing another role than a police officer, but when I saw him as a ghost, I was like, okay, that suits him. Yeah. After seeing him play, yeah, they were right about making that decision. So if I were to talk about this man's former career, he was a former national wrestling team member. I think it is the traditional wrestling. Shirim, I think Korean traditional wrestling game is a bit different. I think he was a, a national athlete for that region of wrestling. So that's why I think that is. This man is the main epitome of being looked down upon national athletes who become police officers in their career, and they're being so looked down upon that they're getting almost like bullied at police station. He is like the main thing that it shows all the hardships that he's going through. We see them and we understand him. And he had worked so hard in his life that he had become a captain of his own team because he suggested that all of these national athletes, former national athletes that now are cops, be put on the same team to work together because they're a special team, they're physically advantages, and they think they can get through a lot of the cases and a lot of the criminals that they come upon their pets. So they were like, we should form a team. And he himself begged the upper position man to be able to do this thing. I don't know the right terminology for this kind of thing, but he really wanted it so much and it happened. When you want something so much to happen, it does happen, you guys. So, we have talked about 5 characters in this drama and their own stories, their own career paths they had to go through, and their hardship as being a former national athlete, and now they are a cop. They are struggling in their workplace as well because they're being not taken seriously at all because they're a former athlete, so they think they cannot do their job properly. But they had a training done, they had trained for this job, they are physically able, and just trust them and you will be fine in your life. So that's it for today. We have talked about the K-drama Good Boy, which I was inspired to watch through the variety show The Village Barber, starring parkbogum and Isangi, the 2 leads in this K-drama. I loved watching it, so I wanted to talk about it. If you're curious about the complex situations in this drama, not the characters' storylines, you can go and watch them. And that's it for today. I will see you guys next week. And if you support me, please don't forget to show it by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. That's it for today. I will see you guys next week.